Listen to the voice of St. Louis at 104.1 FM. It's the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX, but today it's Mike and Mike. Michael Kelley with Mike Elam. So the voice of St. Charles is on the voice of St. Louis. How do you like that?
We're getting our due process.
I know. We have played second fiddle way too long.
Yes. And by the way, my favorite pizza, St. Louis style pizza in St. Louis, are all made in St. Charles.
Are they really?
Two local places, yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Everything comes back to St. Charles.
Yeah.
At least in my world.
Mm-hmm.
It does.
You know the old P.O.'s?
Yeah.
Their pizza, man. The P.O. special.
So every first Friday of every month, we do public policy with the St. Charles Regional Chamber, and we do it at P.O.'s.
Really?
And I love the fact, I mean, for $10, you can come in, you can be a part of local political discussion of what's going on. It's not Republican or Democrat. It's what's going on in St. Charles. So there's a lot of municipal.
Right.
St. Charles City, St. Peter's comes in and talks, and then the county.
Sure.
And we get to have P.O.'s.
Wow.
Which is awesome because it's a buffet.
Yeah.
P.O.'s Pizza.
Well, and that's not normal.
It's not.
They're a sit-down restaurant.
Yeah, you don't get a buffet of P.O.'s.
And I am a recent convert to this Stefanina's.
Oh, Stefanina's is great.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Anytime I'm that far west, I pick one up and take it home, even if I throw it in the fridge.
Well, and you remember Pantera's.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a Pantera's in O'Fallon, just south of I-70, right there in that strip mall.
Well, how about that?
So we've got great
That's all
pizza.
stuff you see when you're driving through St. Charles?
Yes.
But you're not always just on four wheels when you're traveling, are you?
No.
Like yesterday, you took a private plane somewhere?
So yesterday was Chamber Day at the Capitol. So the O'Fallon Chamber, nicely done. St. Charles Regional Chamber and the O'Fallon Chamber, two of the largest chambers in the county, teamed up to do Chamber Day at the Capitol. So a bunch of us were going to caravan up there. So my friend Caleb Hunter, who is the president of St. Charles Regional Chamber, or of the O'Fallon Chamber, my bad. So he reaches out to me and he says, "Hey, are you going to Chamber Day?" And I said, "I am." And he goes, "You want to fly?" And I went, "Of course I do." So Caleb shares a plane with another guy. It's a smaller little Cessna 172.
Just two-seaters?
It's got a back seat, but it's kind of like having a back seat in a Ford Mustang, right? It's there for show.
Yeah.
You could throw some suit coats back there, which is what we did. So we get in. I'm thinking we were going to caravan from a chamber office at 7 a.m.
Okay.
And then Caleb says, "You want to fly?" So I'm thinking, great, I get to sleep in a little bit because it's going to be faster to fly than it is to drive. Not in a Cessna 172 against a headwind. It's pretty much the same time. It took us a little over an hour, about an hour and 15 minutes to fly there because we had a pretty stiff 25 mile an hour. Yeah. So that was coming at us.
Crystal clear day, though.
Beautiful day. Yeah. We took off before the sun was fully up. That was amazing. Wow. I had never done this. Flying in a small plane like that, I hadn't done that before. What a great experience. So thank you, Caleb Hunter.
Were you ever a little nervous? Like, I mean, you know how when you go to the top of the Sears Tower and you're looking down and you kind of get that height, you didn't have that feeling at all?
So I wasn't nervous flying there. Flying back is a little different story. But while we were flying there, Caleb says, "Keep an eye out for two things, other planes and birds." And I'm like, "Birds?" And he said, "Yeah." He said, "When we flew out of Smart Field in North St. Charles, right? Well, what's around that area? A whole bunch of duck clubs, which means a whole bunch of waterfowl are up in that area." And he was telling me a story about a guy who had a duck that he flew into, and it went through his windshield of his little small plane.
That poor duck.
I know. Well, that poor pilot, too, because he got glass all over him and a duck in the face.
And it had to land, I'm sure, right?
And you get a duck in the face at 100 miles an hour, it hurts. I'm just saying.
Oh, my gosh.
Exactly. That's what he said when he saw that airplane coming. So I see this plane up in the corner, and I said, "How big a plane is that?" Because I'm just trying to get perspective, right? So I don't know. I'm used to being in a Southwest flight. And he goes, "I don't know." So he's got this little thing on his phone that he can pull up the planes around him.
Okay.
And he goes, "Oh, that's a Southwest flight 2872 or whatever.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, oh, okay. It's a different perspective when you see the plane flying there. Now, we're about 4,000 feet is what we're flying at. So that Southwest flight was, 15,000 feet above us or
Right.
whatever. So it turns out Caleb's brother is a pilot for Southwest Airlines. So he's texting his brother and said, hey, we were just flying to Jeff City today. And he's like, really? I just flew in from Kansas City to St. Louis. And he's like, oh, that's unusual because his brother normally does West Coast flights.
Okay.
So it turns out his brother was flying in that plane that I asked about that just flew right over the top of us,
man.
So we crossed each other in the air. And to put that in perspective, Southwest has over 4,000 flights a day, right? That's going back and forth. So what are the odds that his brother is flying the plane that we flew in crossing each other?
No, that's incredible. What'd you do? Go buy a lottery ticket?
And I should have. I didn't even think about it because yesterday was Powerball day. So, I think now it's up to, 300, almost $400 million.
Yeah.
It's almost worth playing now. Just kidding.
Did you hear the story about the Powerball or the Texas lottery down in Texas that happened? I'm just going to give you some of the generals on it. But
okay.
Are you done with your flight? How was the rest of the flight home?
Oh, so the flight home, beautiful day.
Uh-huh.
No clouds. So I learned that clear days are very windy days.
Okay.
Because it blows the clouds out of the way. So we're flying back, and it's pretty bumpy. And we're about 5,500 feet that we're flying. And all of a sudden, you're flying along, and then you kind of whoop, and you drop down.
Oh, that's
and
scary.
I'm like, whoa, what was that? And that was kind of the flight all the way home, was doing that. So when you said, were you scared? I wasn't concerned going because it was really smooth. But coming home, you have that little thing that you're like, this is a really small plane.
I did some trying to be a pilot for a while and got the stuff scared out of me and quit. And it was mainly because they described that kind of stuff to me. They said, listen, it's like being on a lake. Okay. And there's little different currents of wind and stuff. And so sometimes you're going to be pushed down. And they're explaining. And I'm telling you, that experience you had where you drop 100 feet out of the middle of nowhere, that was enough. I landed and said, I'm never doing this again.
It was a fun ride. I had a great time. Is it something I want to do every day? I don't think so. I'd like to have a little bigger plane.
All right.
But the experience was fun.
All right. Here's the lottery story. So down in Texas, the Texas lottery is up to like $80 million. Okay.
Okay.
And somebody wins it.
Okay.
Okay. The director of the Texas State Lottery decides that they're going to launch a fraud investigation into it because they started to know that they noticed in a normal 42-hour period, they'd sell $2.7 million worth of tickets. I'm generalizing these numbers to get you the general gist of the story. 2.7 million. And in this time period, they sold 17 million lottery tickets. And ultimately, a guy out of New Jersey figured out that he could spend $25 million in the Texas lottery and win the lottery. He could go buy every combination and he would win.
Oh, wow.
So he figures out how to do this, winds up winning the lottery, gets lucky. Nobody else connects those numbers. So the $25 million investment with an $80 million, cuts it in half, say he walks away with $20 million.
Still.
So they're trying to prosecute this person now saying, hey, you cheated. Well, he didn't cheat.
No.
He went and did it. The people who they are now pointing the finger at who cheated were, there would be these places that were selling lottery tickets, okay? And they were farmhouses, not literal farmhouses, but in the back they would have 10, 12 lottery things, and they'd have guys on iPads who were sitting there and doing it.
Gaming the system.
So the guy gamed the system, but there was no law against him doing it, and they're going after him. Now, I don't like what he was up to, and shame on the lottery, but I don't know.
You got to appreciate
figure
the
out how to
out-of-the-box
buy
thinking.
all the tickets. Why wouldn't you do it?
That works out very well. That is Michael Kelley. My name is Mike Elam. We are sitting in today on the Chris and Amy Show. Major Garrett is on the other side that we will talk to right here on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
You'll hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at tra.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
How many of you think taxes are going to go up in the future? And if they do, who will be hit the hardest? Maybe it's you, headed for retirement. You've been saving in that 401k or IRA, and that money has never been taxed. And Uncle Sam is looking at that account like it's a big, juicy steak. What can you do about it? Join the All Financial Group for their Taxes in Retirement Seminar, Tuesday, March 25th or Thursday, March 27th at Fleming's. They believe you can't have a retirement plan without a tax plan. Fund your retirement, not Uncle Sam's. Reserve your spot today by calling 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824 or online at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions.
At 10:30, it is sunny and 63 downtown at the Arch. An envoy of President Trump has arrived in Moscow for talks on an American proposed 30-day ceasefire that Ukraine has accepted. But a senior Russian official said the truce would only help Kyiv by giving its weary and short-handed military a break. Stalled vehicle 44 East at Elm. That's 44 East at Elm. Also, they've just cleared a crash 70 West at 9th Street. Forecast for this afternoon, we've got plenty of sunshine, high 79. For tonight, partly cloudy, low 58. For tomorrow, sun and clouds, increasingly windy and warm with a high of 83. A couple of severe thunderstorms early tomorrow night. Right now, sun 63 downtown at the Arch, sponsored by Sachs Financial. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
This is Jeff Sachs at Sachs Financial, retiresafestl.com. Retirement security means a peace of mind, knowing you have the freedom to live the life of your dreams and to wake up each day without financial stress. Let us simplify your retirement today. Retiresafestl.com.
Hi, it's me, your USPS Ground Advantage shipment. Just left the warehouse and hitting the road.
I know. Just got the notification.
Great. Smooth sailing so far. I'm almost there.
Yes, I know. I get all the updates.
Made it. Safe and sound.
I know.
Well, did you know I was with USPS the whole time?
Oh, yeah. I know.
Keep your business in the know with the USPS Ground Advantage service. Visit USPS.com/in-the-know.
I see clearly now, thanks to the doctors, Birdie, Malhotra, Brusati, Royer, and Barry. You can too. Go to youridoc.com.
Ever feel like there aren't enough hours in the day? If you get busy or miss your favorite show, don't worry. With Rewind, available exclusively on the free Odyssey app, you can stream your favorite shows on demand. You know your day is better with us. Get the news that matters to you from the local voices you trust. No matter what you're up to, give it a try. To get started, download the free Odyssey app and search for your station. That's AUDACY.
If better health, more energy, and detoxing your body are some of your priorities this year, get Active Liver today and start the year off knowing you're giving your liver some well-deserved relief. You can find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
This is the story of the one. As a quality technician in a food processing center, she knows that making the right call is the best way to avoid a recall. That's why she trusts Grainger's world-class supply chain to deliver the high-quality supplies she needs to help keep her production line, her equipment, and her customers happy and healthy. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Now, Major News with Major Garrett with Chris and Amy on KMOX.
It is the Chris and Amy show on KMOX. Amy is out skiing, so she's been out all week long, and I was supposed to be here to fill in for Amy. But overnight, Chris Ranji decided, I really don't want to be on the radio with Mike Elam, so I'm calling in sick. And Michael Kelley decided to bail us out, so you didn't have to listen to just one mic. You get two, no waiting.
And if with two substandard folks, you've got to give them a Hall of Famer all-star. And joining us now
is Major Garrett. Major, how are you?
I'm great. So this is Mike and Major. 3M. Okay, we're good.
I love that, brother. That would be a great name for a corporation. A 3M.
So.
Wait, that may be taken. I got to do that. Major, how are you today?
Tired as always.
Man, I understand tired because last week I was at a broadband conference. So my full-time job, Major, is working in fiber broadband to the home, right?
Okay.
So I was at a conference in D.C. last week and got the opportunity to go up to the House and the Senate on Thursday. And I heard the same comment from everybody. People who have been there for a very long time talked about they have never been involved in the pace of what Washington, D.C. is going through right now, that everybody's hair's on fire, for better or worse. Just talking about the pace of Washington, D.C., from a lot of D.C. insiders that I talked to, said they've never seen this pace. Is that true for you?
100%. 100%. And for many in your listening audience, they're probably saying good. Washington needs, I mean, look, there are a lot of signals from the election. One of the signals, and a very strong signal, which the Trump administration is taking very seriously, is the established order in Washington, D.C., even as compared to the first Trump administration, is unsatisfactory. A lot of Trump supporters were satisfied with the first Trump administration, but they feel, not incorrectly, that parts of it were restrained by others working for the president. Right. They don't want that restraint. They want full, high-octane Trumpism. And they're willing to see wherever it takes the country. That's how dissatisfied they are with the perceived status quo. And so the people you interacted with on Capitol Hill know that lots of things are happening, massive changes to the regulatory atmosphere. There were huge announcements yesterday from the Environmental Protection Agency on deregulation. There are huge things happening to the size and scope of the federal workforce. There are huge things being reimagined in terms of how to structure payment systems within our entitlement programs, Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. Medicare and Social Security are probably not going to see any kind of reductions in benefits. Medicaid might, but all of those things are being reassessed and reexamined. On top of that, a full-blown conversation, not only about extending the Trump tax cuts of 2017, but adding a bunch of new ones. And then you have the whole tariff conversation on top of that. What is that going to do to the global economy? What is that going to do to revenue flows? I've mentioned 5 enormous things,
right,
all happening at the same time, and that leaves everyone kind of dizzy.
And we're still in the first 60 days of what's going on. I mean, the pace, especially after the last 4 years, which in your world, I used to hear about the Biden administration calling a lid like at 2:00 in the afternoon, which I'm sure for you,
it was rarely that early, but there's just a different tempo and there's a different visibility and kind of authoritative voice from the White House. President Biden always had a different approach on this. He was never going to be a chatty president, but even by his own standards of being less chatty than predecessors and certainly less than Trump, over time, and the country picked up on this, he was not just less chatty, he was more nervous and fearful about public encounters with the press and otherwise. And that flowed through the consumption of what his capabilities actually were or weren't, and then the debate reinforced or clarified for everyone what he was and wasn't, and it wasn't satisfactory to the country.
Major, I'm interested in this budget conversation that's going on because right now we may have the government shut down again. And in the past, the shoe's been on the other foot. The Democrats have had to find a way to keep the government running. McCarthy was removed as speaker, wasn't he, for doing a continuing resolution? And that's what Mike...
For working with other people.
Yeah, well, that's what Mike Johnson's trying to do right now.
Right.
He's also trying to paint it as that the Democrats are the ones who want to shut down the government. The Democrats are irrelevant here. Who's going to shut down the government? Is it going to shut down, and who'll get the blame?
A lot of good questions there. First of all, let me explain why things are different this time. So all the things that Republicans, particularly in the House and the House Freedom Caucus, the most conservative part of the House Republican Conference, used to say about continuing resolutions, which are essentially stopgap spending bills that keep the government open, is that they're terrible. They just kick the can down the road. They don't do anything to address structural saving problems or imbalances or the deficit and the debt. They don't say that this time. Why? Why are they willing to vote for, as they did earlier this week, without any hesitation, extending the Biden levels of spending, which they said for 4 years were outrageously out of control? Because that's what this bill does. It extends all of Biden's budget into the end of the fiscal year. Why are they content with that? Why? Because of Elam. They've all told me this. I had the chairman of the House Freedom Caucus on my show last week, Andy Biggs. He said, Elon's there. So if we're extending Biden, he'll cut back from Biden, and Trump's watching it. So I'm okay with that. That's why the politics have completely turned upside down.
So there's a trust level within the party.
There's a trust
I guess.
level, exactly.
Okay.
So that's point one. Point two. So that's kept the Republicans on the House side unified. That's why they were able to pass it this week. Senate Democrats didn't think that would happen. Senate Democrats thought it would fall apart in the House. They wouldn't have to worry about it. Well, guess what? Now you have to worry about it. And the Senate Democrats have two bad choices in front of them. Either you don't vote for it and you lead to a partial government shutdown and everyone can see it, meaning you didn't vote for it. There were plenty of Republicans who would have voted for it, keep the government open. You don't vote for it, which means you own the shutdown. Well, that's not very good politically. The other thing they can do is say, well, we'll vote for it and allow the government to stay open because we can live with the Biden spending authority, but they're also afraid of Elon. And their Democratic base wants some kind of pushback, some kind of way to say, we're not happy with all these federal workforce reductions. We're not happy with where they're going on the budget. We want you to fight. Well, one of the things in politics that's really hard to sort out is if you fight, for how long, at what political price, and do you have any chance of winning? And on this particular question, all three of those answers, and Senate Democrats know this in their heart of hearts, all three of those answers are no. So they're trying to find a way to elegantly cave, because the politics will eventually force them to cave. And they just haven't figured out how to do that.
CBS Chief White House correspondent and the host of America Decides on CBS News 24/7, Major Garrett, is on the phone with us here. Major, we appreciate your insight on this all the time because these things just keep changing. It seems like hourly from all the stuff that keeps going on. And I'm curious, do you think that they're actually going to make a deal, or do you think they are going to shut it down for a little while?
So it wouldn't surprise me if there was a partial, meaning non-structurally important shutdown over the weekend. It wouldn't surprise me. Democrats might make a play and say, look, we're really serious. We're not going to vote for this. Senate can't find the votes because you need 60 votes to pass it. 60 votes don't materialize. It's shut down over the weekend, and some other mechanism is found to resolve it. Now, look, Senate Democrats could really go to the mattresses on this and say, look, we are never going to support this bill, even though it's all the Biden spending, you know?
Right.
And then Senate Republicans may have to recalibrate. And I think that prospects of that are still very dim. I think Senate Republicans and House Republicans feel that, generally speaking, the political winds are at their back. The one factor that could change that calculation, if it's another down day of the Dow today and another down day in the markets tomorrow, and the accumulated sense of momentum in the stock markets, meaning the S&P, the NASDAQ, and the Dow are all down and trending down even more on Monday because of yet another dimension of uncertainty with a partial government shutdown, Senate and House Republicans may recalibrate. May. Don't know, but that's the one thing that hovers out there that could change the way they look at this politically and might bring them to the table to negotiate. But they, right now, are in no mood to negotiate, and it's the Senate Democrats who are looking into this very complicated and largely difficult political proposition.
Major, I jokingly tease my Republican friends when they say, hey, I thought all this stuff was going to happen on day one. And in fact, a lot of the things that were promised on day one are going the opposite direction. But it's not hurting this guy. It's not hurting the Republicans that he hasn't delivered. What's going on? How is it that they're able to escape the fact that, gas prices are going up and, everything seems to not have gotten any better?
That's an interesting question. And trust me, the White House is struggling to get its messaging out to the public on this. So if it weren't for the tariff conversation, which is roiling markets, and I'm not a financial analyst, but I watch a lot of financial analysts, and everyone is in agreement on this, that the volatility in the market is driven entirely by the unpredictability of this tariff conversation. Absent that, there has been some pretty good economic news this week. Separate from that, the two prints on inflation were under expectations, meaning a little bit softer, a little bit lower. Not all prices are going down, but they're not going up in ways that expectations were. Also, first-time unemployment claims came in under estimates. Those are three pretty good economic signals. If there weren't all this tariff volatility, the markets would probably be responding very favorably to those underlying fundamental economic signals. Gas prices actually have gone down a tick. Egg prices haven't. The president keeps saying egg prices have gone down. Everyone in the supermarket knows that's not true. But the administration believes as fuel prices go down gradually, that will make everything at the consumer level eventually more affordable, not immediately. The one thing that President Trump did as a candidate, and he does pretty consistently as president, is extravagantly promise and sometimes overpromise. This wasn't all going to be solved on day one. That's impossible. But for a political conversation, you want to give that expectation. There are some poll indications that people are getting a little unsettled, but that hasn't changed Republican behavior, and it certainly hasn't changed the president's behavior. Just know this. When the White House and the president say he doesn't pay attention to the markets, yes, he does.
Hey, Major, we've only got a minute here, but I just want to ask from a personal standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
I can only imagine, based on what I heard, like I said, last week in D.C., your job has got to be a heck of a lot of fun right now because I know you enjoy doing what you're doing, and there is an awful lot of material that is out there for you to work with right now as a White House reporter.
Yeah, and it's just too much. I mean, there's no way to do enough of this comprehensive justice. That's the one thing I worry about. The things that otherwise would be held up for real evaluation, either from a policy perspective or a political perspective or economic consequence perspective. It's happening so fast, and I think that's one of the things that's complicating things for the White House. Yes, they're moving on a lot of fronts. Yes, they know they think they have a short period of time, and they should pressurize everything to signal to the country that everything is changing. But it's also hard to digest. If it's hard for a reporter to digest, then it's hard for the country to digest because so many things are happening in so many different spaces. And we just have to keep up as best we can. And whenever people ask me, what are you going to do this weekend? You know what I tell them?
What?
Take a nap.
I can only imagine. That is Major Garrett, man. We appreciate the time that you spend with us every week, and I'm glad you're there keeping an eye on all this stuff because better you shifting through all this stuff than Mike and I trying to get through it all.
It's been a pleasure, gentlemen. I appreciate it.
We appreciate it. That is CBS Chief White House Correspondent and the host of America Decides on CBS News 24/7, Major Garrett. It is Mike and Michael Kelley and Mike Elam hanging out with you today on KMOX. Did you see this? Is next.
There's nothing like it. The crack of the bat, the roar of the crowd, and the timeless voice of Cardinals baseball.
A swing, and there's a high fly ball. That's in the deep left field. It might go. It's a gunner.
Now, you can experience every pitch, every play, every win in crystal clear FM sound.
Big fly, Alec Burleson.
Starting March 24th, tune in to 104.1 FM KMOX, the voice of the Cardinals, now stronger than ever.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. It's no wonder that ZipRecruiter is the place for skilled skydiving instructors, accomplished airbrush artists, and proficient pediatricians. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter to hire, you're missing out. ZipRecruiter is the place that's so confident it can make your hiring easier that it lets you try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. So if you want the right candidates for all your roles, ZipRecruiter is the place to go. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
KMOX Kegs and Eggs, presented by Budweiser, is back and moving to a new home at Cardinals Nation Restaurant in Ballpark Village. Thursday, March 27th from 11 till 2 p.m. All-inclusive single tickets and tables are on sale now and include a delicious brunch buffet, draft beer from Anheuser-Busch products, and select mixed drinks. Celebrate this unofficial holiday with KMOX, Budweiser, Overhead Door Company, St. Louis Composting, and Dirt Cheap. Single tickets are limited. Get yours now at KMOX.com/events.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
The Rockwood School District has openings and is looking for people who enjoy working with kids, child nutrition, cafeteria workers, custodial grounds and maintenance, bus drivers, the Adventure Club. All of these great benefits are included, and a positive, caring, fun work environment. Competitive pay, part-time and substitute positions available as well. Flexible hours and shifts. The Rockwood School District. rsdmo.org/jobs.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they're very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They were in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
No pain, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Hi, Stacy here with Fairwinds River's Edge Senior Living in St. Charles. We have a helpful seminar coming up Friday, March 7th that just might be the help you didn't even know you needed. Learn about the current housing market and tips on how to downsize and move from a home you may have been in for 20 years, or maybe it's been 50. Happy hour follows. Visit us online at fairwindsriversedge.com and let us know if you're able to join us. Thanks, and we hope to talk with you soon.
I'm Dave Glover. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Now, did you see this? With Chris and Amy.
Well, instead of Chris and Amy, it's Mike and Mike. And Matt has got an interesting turtle story he's going to share with us here in just a second. I did want to remind you, we've got a whole lot going on today. So next hour, Representative Brad Criss from South St. Louis County is going to join us. talking about a big bill that got
Excited to talk about that.
He is very excited. That's going to be a good one. And there's a mayoral race that you may not have heard about. That's
Well,
going
and
on.
that bill is a major discussion that's happening in the mayor's race. So the
It
local
is.
control of the police department or changing the way we select people to be chosen. And then you have the mayoral race, which many people would argue maybe this wouldn't be happening if Tashara Jones wasn't the mayor.
That's true. And we are going to have both the candidates on later on today at noon. Michael Calhoun's going to sit down with Kara Spencer, and at 12:15, Debbie Monterey is going to talk with Mayor Jones. So curious to see where that goes. And then tonight at Fox 2.
It's 7 p.m. On Channel 2. They'll have the debate between Mayor Jones and Mayor Spencer.
Spencer, I like that.
Our Alderwoman Spencer.
Nostradamus, I see what you did there.
That was an accident. We will then rebroadcast it on KMOX at 8 p.m.
Okay.
And then if you go back to Channel 2 at 9 o'clock, you can look at me.
The lovely Michael
I'll
Kelley.
be talking about what I heard in that debate.
I'm
interested in this
man.
debate. I'm looking forward to it.
You're on the radio. You're streaming right now. You're going to be on TV.
Buddy, how many people are disappointed? They come on to streaming to look at Amy and Chris, and they got to look at two white mics.
I don't know if not seeing Chris is that big of a disappointment, but Amy. Yeah.
Chris is always hiding underneath that helmet anyway. Nobody would know what he looks like if they took that hat. Does he ever come in
without a hat?
No, I've never seen him without a hat.
I think the
It's
hair
like
is
it's
sewn
his
into
shell.
the hat.
I think the glasses are attached to the hat, so he just puts it on.
Oh, he could
takes
just
it off
be.
all at once.
Yeah, it's one big helmet
Yeah.
that he just puts on. That's how that works. We shouldn't make fun of the sick guy. Yeah, we should.
Yeah, we do.
Why not? It's always good. Hey, you found a turtle story.
Yeah, did you guys see this story from Pennsylvania? A Pennsylvania man actually was stopped by TSA at a Newark airport for hiding a turtle in his pants.
What?
Is that a turtle in your pants? You just happy to see me?
Where are you guys at? I cannot stand the therapy dogs. Like, I get that blind people should have dogs in an airport. But every, group of family out there taking Rover on vacation with them and saying that he's a comfort dog.
So on my flight to D.C.,
Take a car if you're that discomforted.
there was a girls track and field team. That was some college. I can't remember where it was, but they were on our flight. And one of the girls had a dog that was a therapy dog who was with her. And I hadn't really seen that before, right? So you're an athlete in college and you have a therapy dog to get on a plane, which I don't know.
I don't get it.
I don't necessarily want to judge you for those kind of things, but I'm also like, I don't really understand.
Here's the other thing I've noticed is there's lots of people who need therapy dogs when they're traveling to Florida.
Yeah.
Like, these folks, I see them. There's more dogs sometimes on my airplane than there are people because we're all just so nervous.
Well, and to be perfectly honest with you, I like the dogs more than I like the people anyway. So I kind of rather have the dog than some of the people there.
Far cuter.
It's far cuter. It's Mike Kelley and Michael Elam sitting. I just did Mike and Michael. I just flipped those. There you go. Mike and Mike in for Chris and Amy today. We're going to talk with State Representative Brad Christ on the other side here on KMOX. Thanks for hanging out.
99 years. That's how long Overhead Door Company of St. Louis has been repairing and replacing garage doors for savvy homeowners. Since 1926, they are the only authorized dealer of Overhead Door brand products in the city. Always look for the iconic red ribbon to be sure you're dealing with the genuine, the original Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. For same-day garage door repair 24/7, call Overhead Door Company of St. Louis or schedule online overheaddoorsstlouis.com. That's overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
Use both your KMOX presets when you're in the car. 98.7 FM near the city and 1120 AM further out. 2 buttons for KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Edgar Allan Poe is alive and well at the historic Lemp Mansion. 2 nights only. Hear excerpts from his greatest poems and stories and meet the man himself in an interactive evening with images from the world of Poe. $29.95 and drinks are available. Go to ticketleap.com and order your tickets online or call the Lemp at 314-664-8024 for a once-in-a-lifetime evening with the master of horror and suspense, Edgar Allan Poe.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated in the best hearing aids of 2024 by USA Today, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, just $189.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 500,000 happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Do you feel like you're going through life clouded by doubt? Talk to California Psychics. Our trusted and accurate psychics are available 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Download the app or connect with us at CaliforniaPsychics.com. Right now, new customers get 80% off their first reading. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
KMOX KEZK HD2 St. Louis.
This is KMOX, the trusted voice of St. Louis. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. I've been asked many times how Morgan & Morgan became the largest injury firm in the world. I think I know. When someone comes to us for an on-the-job injury, we have a huge workers' compensation practice. But many times we find a defective product that was responsible for that injury. Luckily for them, we have a product liability section headed by my son, Mike. In addition to the comp case, there is a product case too. Other times, the injured worker is fired or harassed for bringing that claim. We have them covered. Our employment lawyers handle retaliation claims as well as wage theft and discrimination cases, and in some cases need to file for Social Security benefits. No problem. We became big for a reason. 30% of our new cases come as referrals from former clients. Hiring us is easy. Go to forthepeople.com on your mobile device or computer, or call Pound Law on your cell, pound 529. Morgan & Morgan. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
It is 11 o'clock, and right now, downtown at the Arch, sunshine, 66 degrees. The White House has pulled its nominee to head the CDC.
A person familiar with the matter says it became clear Dr. David Weldon did not have the votes for confirmation. Weldon was to testify this morning before a Senate panel, but the hearing was canceled. Weldon has long criticized both vaccines and the CDC itself, which promotes vaccines. He is considered closely aligned with Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., himself a leading anti-vaccine activist. Sagar Magani, Washington.
Thousands of IRS workers are already back working from home again.
President Trump had ordered IRS employees to return to their offices this week, but at many of those offices, there were not enough desks for them. Union leaders say the return to office mandate for 20,000 customer service employees has been postponed while the agency finds enough workspace. The IRS has more than 500 offices around the country. Some have space, some don't. Some IRS workers have been working remotely since the 1990s. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
The president of the National Education Association is rallying Illinois teachers, union members.
We will challenge every anti-public education politician who tries to harm our students. We will block every action that is designed to privatize or boundarise or siphon resources from our public schools.
Becky Pringle spoke at the Illinois Education Association delegates meeting today. A launch pad problem forced a flight delay to replace NASA's 2 Starliner astronauts.
SpaceX had been set to launch a crew to the International Space Station Wednesday evening from Florida's Kennedy Space Center, but
SpaceX LD on countdown 1. At this time, we are standing down from today to further address hydraulic release data.
the new crew needs to get to the station before Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams can head home. They've been stuck there since June after Boeing's Starliner encountered major breakdowns in transit. As for the 4 astronauts waiting to go,
SpaceX Dragon, we copy all. Spaceflight is tough. Humans are tougher. We'll be ready when the equipment is.
The next launch attempt could come as early as Thursday.
Yeah, sorry about the unfortunate result today, but we'll get you back up here in the air soon.
I'm Ben Thomas.
The Cardinals added to their big league bullpen by signing Chatham, Illinois native Phil Maton. In Jupiter today, he was asked if playing for his boyhood favorite team is a dream fulfilled.
I don't know, definitely younger Phil would have thought it would have been really stoked about it. It's as you go through professional baseball, it kind of you get numb to it. You obviously your favorite team is always whatever team you're on that year. So I've had multiple favorite teams in the last couple of years.
Baton began his big league career in 2017 and has pitched for 5 other clubs, most recently the Mets. The KMOX business desk: inflationary pressure may be easing for now.
U.S. wholesale inflation decelerated last month. The Labor Department says its producer price index, which tracks inflation before it reaches consumers, was unchanged from January. Compared to a year earlier, producer prices were up 3.2%. That's down from a year-over-year increase of 3.7% in January. The latest figures come as President Trump ramps up his trade war, threatening to increase inflation. Mike Hempen, Washington.
The Dow from Stifel's down 463 points. That's over 1% to 40,887. The S&P 500 is nearing correction territory. We've got road work on 70 East at Bryan Road. All lanes closed, according to MoDOT. A stalled vehicle 44 East at Elm. That's got the right lane closed there.
Plenty of sunshine and very warm this afternoon, high 79. Tonight, clear to partly cloudy and mild, low 58. Tomorrow, partly sunny, increasingly windy and very warm, high 83. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Sponsored by Jerry Kelley Heating, Air Conditioning, and Electrical. We've got sun, 65 in St. Peter, 65 in Florissant, 66 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
In the 70s, baseball player Jerry Kelley decided to do something different.
Thanks for calling Jerry Kelley Heating and Air Conditioning.
This year, the company Jerry started decided we'd do something different.
Thanks for calling Jerry Kelley Heating, Air, and Electrical.
And electrical.
JerryKelley.com. News, talk, cars at 104.1 FM starting March 24th. Set your preset now.
Mike Elam and Michael Kelley back with you on KMOX, having a fun-filled day. Thank you very much again for hanging out and bailing me out with Chris being sick.
Happy to be with you, and big news coming out of Jefferson City yesterday.
You know, I was there yesterday for Chamber Day at the Capitol, and people were just giddy with what was going on. State Representative Brad Christ is on the phone with us right now. He represents District 96 down in South County. Representative, thanks for making the time and joining us today on KMOX.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. Good morning.
So you have been working on a bill, and Senator Schroer has been carrying that over in the Senate. And yesterday, you had some big news. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, yesterday was a great day for St. Louis, the region, and state overall. I filed this bill 2.5 years ago, the first day I could do that as an elected official. And after 2.5 years of clawing and fighting, we got it done. So it's on the governor's desk, and hopefully he signs that very soon.
So tell us a little bit about, the bill is called Safer Missouri. Is that correct?
Yes, that's kind of the theme that we tagged on the bill. And it has more. When I first filed it, it was just to put the St. Louis Board of Commissioners back in place over the police department. And since then, it's involved more of a crime package in general.
So for our listeners who may not have been following this as closely, I mean, you actually filed this before you got sworn in as a senator, didn't you? I mean, 2.5 years ago, you were just starting as a state rep.
That's right. I actually, you can file bills before you're sworn in. And so I filed in December, was sworn in January. And not a senator or representative, but I'm flattered that you think I am one.
Sorry, I'm just trying to put you ahead. My bad. So when... for people who aren't familiar with all the nuts and bolts of this, because people hear about state takeover of St. Louis police, but there's a lot more that's involved in this bill. Why don't you color in that for our listeners a little bit to let them know what all is exactly in this bill?
Sure. So there's a number of things. So I'll just go over a few of the highlights. So one, the biggest thing is to put the state governor appointed board back in control of the St. Louis Police Department. We obviously know the public safety crisis that's happened in St. Louis over the last decade. And so it's been imperative for our citizens and our police to get this back in place. And we do have an emergency clause on it. So the law will go into effect the second that ink hits the paper from Governor Kehoe. We also have some provisions in there to increase and put in statute criminal activity around stunt driving. You guys are probably aware of in cities all over the state, but in St. Louis on Market Street, where they're doing donuts and stunt racing. You saw it on 4th of July. We've actually had a few lives lost to some of those acts. So it'll put in penalties to crack down on that. It requires immigration status of criminal offenders to be reported to the state. It also repeals a sunset on electronic monitoring of protection orders, which is if a domestic abuse survivor is to be alerted when that perimeter is breached. That's been repealed. It adds in statute for dangerous felonies to bus hijacking, bombing, and government interference. So again, it adds a number of things to statute. Of kind of what we've seen over the last, I call it, 5-6 years of some of those mobs that have been kind of attacking our institutions, protesting, obstructing government operations, taking over streets. And so I think it's an overall good crime package to protect St. Louis and the state.
Representative Brad Christ from St. Louis County is our guest. We're talking about the Safer Missouri Act that was passed and truly agreed to, waiting for a signature from the governor. The highlight of that being the takeover, to putting the board back under the appointment process of the governor. Representative, you've been a strong proponent of it. Why is this a smart tactic? What's going to change? What will be better?
Great question. And we talked about this a lot over 2.5 years. So again, this bill, the real, I guess, power behind this bill is it's going to take the politics out of policing. Right now, the mayor sits over that and is kind of the king over that police department. So this will put a board back in place. It's citizen controlled. There'll be 4 citizens of the city of St. Louis that have had to have been citizens for 2 years. And it'll put the foundation back in place so we can get the morale back, the staffing back, the funding back in that department. And it'll build a foundation for that police department so they can put an effective crime plan, which Chief Tracy's already putting in. It'll just give them more resources to complete it.
Representative, I have to ask, the state of Missouri and the people voted to give control of this police department back to the city. I'm sure you're a local rights person. Why should the circumstances be different from the city of St. Louis than they are in terms of Florissant or Joplin in terms of having control of their own police department?
No, good question. So they did vote on that in 2012. And, it's not like we're doing this the year after. This has been a 10, 12-year experiment that's been a massive failure. And so we took it up when I was elected to try to solve this problem and bring it back. And just an FYI, that statewide initiative actually performed the worst in the city of St. Louis. And so through going through town halls, talking to every beat cop, talking to citizens that I know over all the St. Louis, it was pretty resounding that they wanted public safety and a public safety presence back in their city.
So, State Representative, we next hour are going to have both of the mayoral candidates on KMOX. Our newsroom is going to interview Mayor Jones, and then Kara Spencer is going to be on as well. They've got their big debate going on tonight. Have you heard from either one of those candidates? Obviously, this just happened yesterday, but have you heard from either one of them of how they expect to move forward with the state?
I have not. Obviously, Mayor Jones is in heavy opposition to this bill.
Right.
I haven't had many discussions, really any discussions with her, although I have attempted, but I have had discussions with Chief Tracy. I've met Kara Spencer at a few events. I've not had any deep discussions with her on this topic. But regardless, I think it's going to be a good. I have all the confidence in the world in Governor Kehoe and putting a good board in place that fully intends to work with whoever the mayor of St. Louis is. So I don't think it's going to be an extremely combative board. I think it's going to be an overall positive board to try to get good things done for the city of St. Louis.
I got a chance to spend some time with Governor Kehoe yesterday while we were up there. He was stressing the fact that this is not really a state takeover of the police department as much as it's a board from the city of St. Louis. He wanted to stress that these board members are going to be city residents who will have a voice in their police department. So his version is, hey, it's still going to be a local voice that's controlling all this. I know there's going to be an emergency clause that is on this bill. So I think you alluded to it earlier. When the governor signs it, it goes into effect. Do you have an idea? There's a 6-person board, from the way I understand. The mayor is going to be on it, whoever the mayor is. There's going to be 4 voting members and then 1 non-voting member. Can you tell us a little bit about what that board looks like, and when do you expect the appointments from the governor to happen?
Yeah, a couple questions there. So yes, governor's exactly right. And unfortunately, it's taken the tag as state control, but you and the governor are completely correct. It couldn't be more local control. You have 4 local citizens running the police department with the mayor and this ex officio. So the makeup of that board is that. So you'll have 4 local citizens, which again have to be sponsored and approved with the advice and consent of the Senate. So the Democratic senators in the city will have a say in who's elected under this board. And then we added an ex officio, which is a non-voting commissioner that has to be a property owner in the city and live in St. Louis County, St. Charles County, or Jefferson. Has to be one of the counties touching the city. And so, I'm sorry, I think it's St. Louis County and Jefferson County. And so they will be able to obviously advise the board, but they will not be a voting member.
I get you don't want us St. Charles people to have a voice. I get that. I'm not offended at all. That's okay.
But as far as the transition, we have a transition director actually in it. So it's something we added this year just to make sure that it was as smooth as possible. So we will have a transition director between the day that it's signed to the day that it's implemented.
Well, I wanted to say congratulations on getting this done. I know Governor Kehoe for the last year and a half has been talking about this is his number one priority, to get crime in the city of St. Louis under control. I know you have been pounding this from the time you walked in, actually, I guess before you walked into the House of Representatives. So congratulations to you, Senator Schroeder over in the Senate, for getting this done. I know you're very proud, as well you should be, of getting a big piece of legislation done through the House. Congratulations to the House and the Senate, by the way, because the Missouri legislative body this year has suddenly turned into a functioning body, which we haven't seen for a number of years yet. So congratulations on getting that. And I wish you the very best on what is going to turn out to be a very busy day at the Capitol before you head out on spring break.
Well, I appreciate it. And you're spot on. Governor Kehoe is from St. Louis. I'm from St. Louis. We're very passionate about our hometown. We want to have positive conversations about uplifting that community in that region. And this is the first step to do that. So truly appreciate it and happy to come on anytime.
That's State Representative Brad Christ. He is representing the 96th district in the state of Missouri. We appreciate your time. Have a great weekend.
You too. Take care.
So that was some nice time. And for a guy who's new to the this is only his sophomore term, for him to carry this piece of legislation and get it across the finish line, that's a huge deal.
Yeah, you don't see that too often. And don't forget, this was also a priority of the governor. And one of the talking points we're hearing right now is, this really only affects the city of St. Louis. And I think to a certain extent, that's a false narrative. The entire region is affected by what goes on with crime in the city of St. Louis.
Right.
But to his credit, Mike Kehoe ran on this issue.
He did.
This was a topic of conversation in every sector of the state of Missouri. It was not just something discussed in the city of St. Louis.
I got a chance to talk with the governor a lot over the past year about this, because every time I got to fill in, it seemed like I was always having a conversation with him about it. And he had said, from the time my hand comes off the Bible, winning that race, this is going to be my priority, to make St. Louis safer, because as St. Louis goes, so goes the state of Missouri.
Well, and look, I'm left of center. Governor Kehoe would have been far better to have Governor Quaid in my eyes, But
I appreciate that.
But I do appreciate that Mike Kehoe is putting himself out there.
He is.
And hear me out when I say this. He's walking into a bad situation here in the city of St. Louis, where we've been defined throughout the entire country. He's willing to own it.
He is.
Guess what comes with owning it? You got to make it better, or you're going to be the one who's held accountable.
And I think he's up for the challenge.
And I do. I think
do.
I think he's uniquely positioned as a Republican who've spent the last 3 decades of my life demonizing the city of St. Louis, making what happens in St. Louis and Jefferson City a lightning rod issue, and him saying, this can't happen anymore, man. We're tied together with this city. We've got to make it better. And I bought into that thought process because the rest of the state does need us. And Mike, it does feel like often Jefferson City isn't coming with a helping hand, but coming with a ball bat to the city.
Yeah, that's Michael Kelley. I hear the music in the background, which is telling me that Matt says I need a break. My name's Mike Elam. We will continue this conversation on the other side of the break. Thanks for listening to KMOX.
For residential and commercial heating repair, service, maintenance, or installation, contact Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation. With over 50 years of HVAC service, get in your comfort zone this winter. Visit aircomfortservice.com. That's aircomfortservice.com.
Hi, my name is Christina Straight, the owner of Straight Realty, and I'm asking you, what do you want in a realtor? Do you want experience? I've been a broker for over 21 years. Do you want to know how much I've sold? I've sold over $500 million, yes, $1 billion with a B, in sales. Do you want value? I now list properties for only 2%. So if you're looking for all these things and want the best, then call me 314-441-4444. Why pay more than 2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
I'm Tom Ackerman, and welcome to this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. This month we are talking about colon cancer, and joining us is Dr. Will Chapman Jr., Siteman Cancer Center.
The best treatment for colon cancer is to prevent it from ever starting in the first place. And we feel that colonoscopy is the best way that you can prevent colon cancers.
Thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, visit siteman.wustl.edu.
Welcome to Staples.
I hear Staples prints it all for any business.
You bet, and we'll beat any print quote.
So if I had a pizza place,
Staples can print signs, menus, pizza boxes.
A landscaping business?
Oh, we can print yard signs, t-shirts, brochures.
How about a pizza/landscaping business? I'll call it Dough and Mo.
I like it.
Right now at Staples, get up to $250 off your print purchase. Ends 4/5, exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for offer details. Price match guarantee valid in store and staples.com/print. Visit staples.com/price match for details.
Celebrate twice as much with NordVPN's birthday deal. Get 72% off and a coupon for up to 1 year free. Visit NordVPN and discover the benefits. Secure up to 10 devices with a single account. Encrypt your online traffic. Reduce the risk of phishing, scams, and malware with NordVPN's Threat Protection Pro. Get the special birthday deal at NordVPN.com. Additional terms apply. NordVPN.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated in the best hearing aids of 2024 by USA Today, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, just $189.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 500,000 happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was going to unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
It's official. KMOX is moving to FM. Starting March 24th, listen to the voice of St. Louis at 104.1 FM.
It's the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX, but today it's Mike and Mike. Mike Elam sitting here, Michael Kelley sitting right over there. Thank you so much for doing a last-minute fill.
Happy to be here with you. And now what? We're going to talk a little bit more about Mike, the governor? I like the fact that Mikes are ruling the world.
You know, we got Michael Calhoun in the newsroom, who, by the way, is doing an interview with Kara Spencer next hour. And Debbie Monterey, the rock star that she is doing the interview with Mayor Jones next hour. So we're going to have both mayoral candidates on next hour. We have a rock star newsroom here.
Well,
you don't have that just anywhere, but we do at KMOX.
And unfortunately, we only have a couple of newsrooms in St. Louis. I mean, you've got 2 or 3 TV newsrooms. You've got the Post-Dispatch, and
but I would put our newsroom against the Post.
No, that's what I'm
against
saying.
Our TV news stations. I
Agreed.
think our folks do a really
I'm
good
a home
job.
team player. I'm with you, but I'm suggesting that it's vital that we have this newsroom
I agree.
as well, because the amount of newsrooms in this city has gone down.
And local news coverage is a big deal. And if you don't have that local news coverage, then you lose track of what's going on. I appreciate it's fun, especially on your side, to throw things at Donald Trump.
Right.
But eventually, you need to pay attention of what's going on in your local community.
Mike, these school districts that are spending more money than most cities have, hundreds of millions of dollars that is dispensed right here in our local communities. That's more than you're going to have as an operating budget for one of these local cities. They are important, these local elections. That's why I'm grateful KMOX is devoting the time that they are. Channel 2 as well, partnering up on that debate for this evening. It's going to be kind of interesting, right? We're this debate that's going to go on. We just had a primary.
Right.
I don't like the janky system we have in the city, Mike. I think it's crazy. I think it's un-American. It doesn't make any sense. But it was brought to us by these progressives, and it was by design.
Right.
And it really limits the amount of people who are participating. But I'm encouraged that they're going to talk. But boy, having just had the election and the incumbent mayor being defeated the way that she is,
right?
Something major has to happen in this debate this evening, or even here on KMOX, to change the trajectory of this race. I would argue to you, I've done some work for Kara Spencer in the past, and for groups supporting of her, more importantly. But what I would suggest to you is that I don't know that this was a momentum election for Kara Spencer. I think Kara Spencer is an alternative. She's run an effective campaign. I think this election, the one we just went through and the one that will happen here in just a couple of weeks, is all about Tashara Jones.
I agree with you.
And if that's the case, she has to do something monumental or change the trajectory like today.
Well, you've worked in the political world a lot longer than I've been involved. I've only been elected in St. Charles for 12 years now. You've been involved in this a long time and much bigger things. But it seems to me that almost every election that has an incumbent who is running for re-election really becomes all about, is this incumbent doing a good job or are they not?
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's not so much that I love the person running against the incumbent. I just really don't like the incumbent. And I think there's a lot of that, to your point, that's going on here, because Michael Butler was on the Dave Glover show with me on Tuesday.
Right.
Really nice guy. Didn't know him before. So I've gotten to know him through the Glover show, because DGS connects the world. That's just how it works. So he almost beat Tashara Jones. It was that close.
Yeah.
And he was joking about the fact of, Glover said to him, "Hey, really nice job. You almost got it." And he said, "Yeah, all I needed was $400,000.
Well, and that's just it. And the current system we have, I am a proponent of changing the electoral system.
So what do you want to go to?
Great question.
Thank you.
I want to go to, in the city of St. Louis, a seat with 17% of the people showing up for something that affects not only this city, but the entire region is pathetic and cannot be dealt. We know people show up in November.
Yes.
It would be impossibly hard to put our mayoral candidates on a presidential election. They would get no attention.
Right.
But we are going to have a Senate race every 4 years that sure gets some statewide attention, but definitely is going to draw people out to the ballot and would bring more people. I think more participation in the city of St. Louis is better. So one of the proposals I've heard is let's go to August, November of the off-cycle election, and we can get to 30 or 40%. There are others, traditionalists, maybe even like yourself, who say, wait a minute, man, municipal elections really ought to have their own time period. And if that's the case, I could acquiesce to that, as long as we didn't do these primaries like this back to back,
right,
with this March primary where nobody goes out to vote in March. Now we're going to show back up in April. We had that convoluted system where, it was the problem that's wrong with everybody today. You can vote for everybody gets a ribbon. You can go vote for everybody.
Every candidate's a participatory trophy.
Yeah. It's American.
I'm torn on the whole moving the April elections to August and November, only because I fear for like school board candidates and that kind of stuff that can't raise a lot of money anyway.
Right.
And it's so hard to get out of the fray. I mean, I felt for everybody who was running last year. God love you if you were running last year and you had all the statewide stuff, you had a senatorial race, all the congressional races, all the House of Representative races, plus the presidential election. If you were a mayor or an alderman or a school board candidate, how you got any traction at all would be beyond me. But I also want people to come out and vote.
Right.
And if I can't get you to come vote in April and you get that 10 to 14% that comes and votes, that's horrible, right?
Yeah.
So I'm open to the fact of let's look at August, November. I just want to figure out how can we incentivize people to come out and vote, because municipal elections are way too important for you to not
We
pay
should
attention.
definitely preserve municipal elections. I was just arguing that maybe the mayor of the city of St. Louis, like the mayor of New York, would be a unique exception, just that office.
I think you have to do them all.
See if you can do a charter change.
And I know it's going through Jeff City, and I know they're talking about that right now. There's a lot of stuff going through Jeff City right now, and Jeff City seems to be working.
From one J to another, we're going to talk about Jupiter next, aren't we? Who are we visiting with next?
We're going to talk with Bernie Michaelis. We're going to talk a little sports, and there's some interesting stuff going on St. Louis-wise that we're going to talk with Bernie about. It is Michael Kelley, Mike Elam, sitting in today, the Mike and Mike version of Chris and Amy on KMOX.
When news breaks, St. Louis turns to the team that knows your community best. At KMOX, our newsroom is dedicated to delivering the stories that matter to you. KMOX News is here for St. Louis.
This is Tom Ackerman of Total Information AM.
This is Debbie Monterey.
This is Megan Lynch.
Hi, this is Michael Calhoun with KMOX News.
I'm Maria Kina.
Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
Starting March 24th, listen to the voice of St. Louis at 104.1 FM.
Want to retire in 5 years or less? You can do it, just like Lifestyles Unlimited member Lisa.
So we started passively. It was on vacation is when we realized we really need to take the plunge and be more active in this. Just because I'm an educator, I wanted to really know what I was doing. So it was just education on my part is really big. And I'm like, well, I could do that.
Text the word radio to 88007. That's radio to 88007. Join for just $297, a 60% savings. Lifestyles Unlimited. Text radio to 88007.
Hey, this is Debbie Monterey. Join me and Kevin Short of Clayton Capital Partners for our next edition of the Business of Family Business when John Mylink joins us from 1905 New Media.
Yeah, Deb, another great St. Louis story of a family that made it through all the trials and tribulations of small business and have thrived. Tune in on Saturday to hear another great story.
That's the 120-year-old fourth generation 1905 New Media, the Business of Family Business. Saturday at 5, only on KMOX.
At 11:30, sun and 68 downtown at the Arts. President Trump threatening a 200% tariff on European wine, champagne, and spirits if the European Union goes forward with a planned tariff on American whiskey. The European import tax unveiled in response to steel and aluminum tariffs by the U.S. administration, expected to go into effect on April 1st, just ahead of separate reciprocal tariffs that Trump plans to place on the EU.
Tom Ackerman in West Palm Beach, Florida. This spring training report is sponsored by St. Louis Composting, Growing Gardens, Making Memories, and by Norm's Bargain Barn and Wilkie Window and Door. We are here for the Cardinals and the Astros. It'll be on Cardinals.com today. Mike Claiborne, Stephen Carey will join me as the Cardinals and the Astros go at it. Cardinals will be taking on an Astros team that is their neighbor to the south. Steven Matz will start for St. Louis. In pitching news today, the Cardinals signed Phil Maton. That is their first free agent major league signing of the offseason and spring training. Phil Maton, 9-year major league veteran, reliever from Chatham, Illinois, actually, and he pitched for the Houston Astros and most recently the New York Mets. A lot of postseason experience. We talked about it earlier this morning on Total Information AM and heard from Maton. And then just moments ago, the Cardinals announcing that Gordon Graceffo has been optioned to Memphis. That was an expected move as Maton essentially takes his spot in the bullpen. Cardinals and Astros this afternoon. Cardinals.com at 12:05. I'm Tom Ackerman, KMOX Sports.
And taking a look at the traffic situation, road work on 6440 going west at the Missouri River. The left lane is closed there. Stall 6440 west at Winghaven. The right shoulder is closed. This afternoon, sunshine and warm with a high of 79. For tonight, clear, low 58. For tomorrow, we've got a high of 83. Right now, 68 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
With the new year, it's time to make sure you have the best vision for 2024. That means scheduling your annual eye exam with Ophthalmology Associates. Call 314-966-5000.
Farming's hard. To feed the world, farmers have to work the land, brave the elements, and fight the battle against weeds. Weeds reduce crop yields, so prices go up and everybody gets less to eat. But 50 years ago, farmers got a new tool to fight weeds, glyphosate. It kills weeds while protecting the harvest. Time and again, it has been approved by the EPA and by leading regulatory bodies around the world. It helps enable practices that reduce erosion and keep soil healthy, which is good for the earth. Farming's hard, but it's a little easier with glyphosate. Learn more at go.bayer.com/glyphosate, paid for by Bayer.
When news breaks, St. Louis turns to the team that knows your community best. At KMOX, our newsroom is dedicated to delivering the stories that matter to you. KMOX News is here for St. Louis.
This is Tom Ackerman of Total Information AM.
This is Debbie Monterey.
This is Megan Lynch.
Hi, this is Michael Calhoun with KMOX News.
I'm Maria Kina.
Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
Starting March 24th, listen to the voice of St. Louis at 104.1 FM.
You all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at tra.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
This afternoon, it's round one men's Billikens basketball, A10 tournament play, and you can hear the game here. Pre-game 12:45, tip at 1 on your home for Billikens basketball. KMOX.
It's the Chris and Amy Show at KMOX. Today, it is the Mike and Mike Show. Michael Kelley and Mike Elam sitting in today, and we're trying to do as many Mikes as we possibly can. We've been talking about Mike Kehoe. We got Michael Calhoun. Bernie Mikulas report is being sponsored by Salika Heating and Cooling, an American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer. And Bernie, today, would you be willing to be Bernie Mikulas just so we can keep the Michael theme going?
Yeah, sure. In fact, when I was in high school, a lot of my chums, called me Mike because at first they didn't know how to pronounce my last name and they saw the M-I-K. And it was just easy to go with Mike.
Well,
so, yeah, absolutely. I'm honored to be part of the Mike Club.
And it makes you even more handsome just by having the name associated.
There you go.
But does it make you smarter? I don't think it applies in my case. So anyway.
We're not going that direction. Hey, Matt was pointing out a tweet that you shared that I thought was very interesting in talking about many seats are available for the 2025 opening day of Busch Stadium. A great annual tradition won't be the same, and the Cardinals are to blame.
Well, it's an interesting thing because now the tickets are starting to move. So by the time I put that thing up, in the YouTube video that I did, there are a great number more of tickets still available. But in the last 48 hours or so, last 24 hours, I think fans are looking at it and think, well, it's opening day, we got to go. So they're starting to move them. But the fact that they're even straining to sell it out, I think that's the overall point. Usually opening day, I mean, good luck trying to get a ticket. I mean, I can't tell you how many times through the years, I'd get calls from text message calls from friends. Hey, is there you got a connection down there?
Can you get me in?
Yeah, I can't get any opening day tickets anywhere. And the fact that it's 2 weeks out and that they're still might have been 3,000 or 4,000 short of a sellout. That's a big change in St. Louis. So when I say the Cardinals are to blame, it's because the team. I don't have to tell you guys. I mean, they've ranked 22nd in winning percentage in the majors the last 2 years. Their offense has been really, really dull. Until today, they hadn't spent any money on any kind of free agent, major league free agent. They've cut payroll. They've had a hard time with their messaging, explaining what they want to do this season. They kind of contradict themselves. And I've said this. Listen, we talk about it on KMOX to be polite about it. John Moselak's been around a long time. I call it the Moselak fatigue syndrome. People are just kind of burned out when you have the same messenger for a long time.
Right.
And they just, people are just kind of, they're not excited. I mean, the enthusiasm factor is way down, and really the Cardinals kind of let this thing slip, and they haven't been aggressive this offseason at all. So, yeah, I think it's more ambivalence than anything, and I think this is a fan's way of registering their protests. And it's not just opening day. I mean, we're going to talk about like ticket sales all year. I'm sure the Cardinals will be down again, but you know what? And I know it's a long answer, and I'm sorry. They had a lot of no-shows last season, but in terms of tickets sold, they were still 7th in the majors.
Wow.
In fact, the Cardinals outdrew tickets sold. They sold more tickets than 7 teams that actually made the playoffs. So I think, and I've always been careful. I've always made sure to point all this out. Yeah, by St. Louis standards, where you can count on 3 million, 3.2 million, 3.3 million, the ticket sales are down. But relative to Major League Baseball, the Cardinals are amazing with their staying power in terms of being one of the very best. Since they moved into the new Busch Stadium in 2006, they have been no worse than 4th in Major League attendance, tickets sold, no worse than 4th in all but 2 seasons. And in those 2 seasons, they were 7th. So even when it's a, quote, bad year, they're still like top 7 in the majors and tickets sold. So I think, we can note that there's fan dissatisfaction, and it's understandable, but we should also make sure to note, as I do, St. Louis, relative to other cities, has got nothing to be embarrassed about with a dip in ticket sales.
But I'm just curious. I mean, so we used to be a host family for the River City Rascals back then. And I had a kid who lived in my basement for 6 seasons. And one of our kids actually made it to the majors, Joe Thatcher. And he played 11 years in the majors as a left-handed reliever. And we went out to see him when he was playing for the Padres. And it was a day game, and it's San Diego. It was gorgeous, right? And San Diego that year was actually winning the Western Division. There were 18,000 people in the ballpark. And I said, Joe, where is everybody? You guys are winning. And he goes, Mike, it's not St. Louis. There's other stuff to do in San Diego. You people in St. Louis have this weird version that everybody comes to the ballpark. And to your point that you just made, we do. The old joke, a bad day at the ballpark's better than a good day at work, right? But I'm just curious, what should our expectations be for this team? Because I don't think we really know. The last 2 years, we haven't been good. And we keep coming back saying, but it's going to work out. It's going to work out, because it normally does for us. The way things are starting in spring training, grant you, it's spring training, so who knows? But we don't look good. I don't know what my expectations should be for this team.
Well, when your team's coming off, a really bad year on offense, spring training stats don't matter, but you still want to see some guys going into the regular season with some confidence, with some momentum, feeling good about their swings. And there's not too many have done that. But I also, listen, I've covered spring trainings and tried to interpret spring trainings for a long time. I'll give you a really recent example. In 2023, the Cardinals had the best record in the Grapefruit League, all the Florida teams. They had the best spring training record, 17-7. So it's like people were fired up. Oh, man, Cardinals look pretty good. Wow, look at that record. They played great. 71 and 91. Their worst their worst record in a full season since 1990. So
don't read too much into it. Is
no,
what you're
no.
telling me.
I try to always be like really like on guard against that. Right now, that where I think it matters is if it's a young player trying to make the ball club, and it's going to come down to the last couple days of decision. Like Victor Scott, a great example. Yeah, I pay attention to his stats because he's fighting for the starting center field job, and he's got a really good chance. So he's putting his best foot forward. I do think with young players, I think the stats mean a little more because they're trying to get somewhere rather than to just kind of, I got to get ready for the season. Pitchers work on different pitches. Hitters are trying different things with their swings. But the young guys want to get really good results to kind of, get the positive attention from the people making the decision.
Well, I don't want to make this all about Cardinals because there's other stuff going on. I mean, we're shortened today because next hour, actually in about an hour from right now, we're going to have the pregame for SLU basketball playing in the Atlantic 10 tournament. How do you think SLU's going to do as we go forward here?
Well, I think it's, the one game at a time, but if they can get past Davidson, the teams that they would have to play in the next two rounds, if they make it to the final, the SLU's had success against those teams that they would meet next. Right. But Davidson, SLU should beat Davidson. And like Ken Pomeroy, who has a great site, I always look at his projected scores because they're really accurate by and large. He's got SLU winning this one by 3. But I can break this game down for you real easy, and I promise I'm not going to give you a million numbers. I have them, but in the Atlantic 10 conference play, just conference games only, because that's what we're talking about, because all these games are in the conference. It's a tournament. SLU's the best shooting team in the conference. They are the number 2 2-point shooting team. They're a great 3-point shooting team. They've gotten 40% of their points this year on pointers. They can shoot the heck out of the ball. But the Billikens are also the fatal flaw. If they're going to go down, the fatal flaw is they turn the ball over way too much. In fact, in the Atlantic 10, they have the worst turnover rate by an offense in the league. So if they can keep possession of the ball without turning it over and setting up easy scores for the other side, they'll be able to shoot the lights out if they hold form. And, Davidson's got some problems too, that SLU can exploit. Davidson does not hit all season long, has not shot the ball well from 3-point distance. And SLU defends three-point shots pretty well. So it's going to come down to avoiding turnovers and doing what you've done all year with your SLU, which is in the Atlantic 10 Conference. Hit your shot. They make shots. They're shot makers. They're really good at it.
I would just love to see SLU catch some fire and do something exciting because I still miss the old days when we had spoonball and everybody was on fire with SLU. And I'd love to see something like that come back. I don't know if it's possible, but it would be just fun for the city to have something to celebrate.
Well, my dear late friend, Rick Majerus, brought it back. And, unfortunately, his last full season of coaching before, his heart problems, really basically took him out of coaching until he passed. That year, his fire, that was a great team. And Chaffetz Arena was packed, and it was an event, and it was a party. It was just like the Spoon days that you referred to. And unfortunately, Rick couldn't take it full distance. The health problems got caught up to him. But that team got to the second round in the tournament, and they had Michigan State on the ropes and, missed a couple of free throws, and they lost. But that was one heck of a team. And, even after Rick passed away, or he couldn't coach, their 2 seasons after that were really, really outstanding. So it was fun. But I agree with your overall point for sure. The potential of this program is enormous. And that's one of the great arenas in college basketball. And it's up to SLU to have the kind of program that can get people fired up. And I do think that they're on a good track with Brad Church. It's just been a really inconsistent team because of all the turnovers, and they're not a very good rebounding team. They give up way too many offensive rebounds to the other side.
That is Bernie Michaelis. Bernie, I appreciate all the insights. It's always good, like Michael Kelley and I were talking about before, it's always great to have a resource like you who follows everything and you know everything. So Mike's like us who are just here for our charming good looks and sparkling personality. We don't have to get into the numbers because we've got guys like you who follow. That's why the Gas House Gang is so much fun to listen to. You guys are just a wealth of knowledge, not to mention super entertaining. So it's good to catch that as well.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to Mizzou tonight against Mississippi State, their first game in the SEC conference. And real quick, Mizzou's problem. Look, Mizzou's they're a better team than Mississippi State, but Mizzou, their last 6 games, their defense has just utterly collapsed. And I'm not being dramatic.
You're not.
I mean, they've allowed an average of about 94 points per game, and the shooting percentage from the other side is astronomical, and they have just collapsed defensively. So I'm not sure which Mizzou team will show up. They're going to have to play really, really good defense, which is something they haven't done in a while, unfortunately.
I feel your pain on that one. I'm an Arkansas Razorback guy, so I never know who's going to show up for the Razorbacks these days. Hey, Bernie, tell us about our friends at Saliga.
My pleasure, and great being with you guys, by the way. Saliga Heating and Cooling has been taking care of St. Louis families since 1927. In fact, the Saliga family has continuously owned this proud, independent American standard heating and air conditioning dealer. Dan Saliga is the 4th generation owner-operator. And I just love this backstory here. You've got 4 generations of Saligas taking care of at least 4 generations of St. Louis families. And that's why they're great. They've built a reputation. It means more to them because it's their family business. Saliga's on the vans. It's on the trucks. It's on the building. And they take a lot of pride in that. So you're going to get the best of everything from them. And we have been a Saliga family for 16 years, totally honest, professional, knowledgeable. They're classy when they come into your home. They'll help. What they'll do is recommend cheaper solutions. They're not trying to sell you something. We have 100% trust in Saliga Heating and Cooling. So they can do it all. And I'm going to just tell you to look at the Priority Club when you go online. It's a maintenance program that will pay off. We've been in it for a long time and we've saved money. We also have peace of mind because of just 2 maintenance checks a year to make sure everything's working the way it should. So to find out more about the Priority Club and everything else at Saliga, go to SaligaHeatingandCooling.com, SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. Thank you.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
This year, we celebrate the 40th anniversary of the Cards 85 National League Championship with an opening day exclusive. KMOX First Pitch Breakfast, presented by Budweiser at Cardinals Nation at Ballpark Village, featuring Cards legend Vince Coleman for an unfiltered conversation. Tickets are limited and on sale now at KMOX.com/events.
The First Pitch Breakfast, presented by Budweiser, Overhead Door Company, St. Louis Composting, and Dirt Cheap.
If you want jazz music, go to New Orleans. Bagels, New York. And for psychics, think California Psychics. You want the best, you go to the best. At California Psychics, home of free spirits and open minds, we know better than anyone what makes a good psychic. That's why we guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com and experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Here's how to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. Our US-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you, and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-bill.
An important message from S&L Coins. S&L Coins pays top dollar for your gold and silver coins, old currency, gold-filled jewelry, scrap gold and silver, silver plating, gold and silver bullion. Get a quote with a call to S&L at 544-3600. S&L Coins, 544-3600. Or visit S&L Coins at 9300 Gravois, just east of McKenzie. Open 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 Saturday. Before you sell, call S&L 544-3600.
Join Mark Patrick seminars. Lose the weight and stop smoking. Early bird specials $49.99. Seminar Sunday, March 16th. Holiday Inn, St. Louis Southwest, Route 66, St. Louis. Weight loss 11 a.m. Stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Or Monday, March 17th, 4 Point Church in St. Louis, Fairview Heights, Fairview Heights. Weight loss 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar 8 p.m.
If you want to know what's happening with your St. Louis Cardinals, then you need to get the inside scoop from the Gas House Gang. Every weekday at noon, Tom Ackerman, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler, and Bernie Nicholas break down the latest Cardinals news with analysis only true experts can bring. Live on the KMOX YouTube channel and KMOX Sports on X, and replayed weeknights at 8 on KMOX. The Gas House Gang, sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling and Game Day Men's Health on your home of the St. Louis Cardinals. KMOX.
I'm Rachel Zimmerman. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
What's today? It's Thursday. Really? Feels like Tuesday.
It doesn't feel like Tuesday. It feels like Thursday all day. Actually, it kind of feels like a Friday. It's the Chris and Amy show, but today it's the Mike and Michael show. Michael Kelley sitting in with Mike Elam. Thank you so much for hanging out. It's been fun working with you today.
Glad to be with you. And, this is a great time of year because, we had those couple of weeks right after football where nothing's going on.
Yeah.
And now we've got
everything
the
working
SLU game coming up here. Cardinal baseball starting back up. Not
Blues
too much
are
longer.
tonight.
We'll have the Masters. Spring is coming, brother.
Man, and the weather is awesome. Today it's going to get up to 79. And only down to 58 tonight. Although we have some storms over the weekend. I think tomorrow it's going to be in the 80s. The record high, I think they said, was 86, and we're gonna be close to it, like 83.
Perfect.
I'm glad I've been losing all this weight, but the problem is I have no shorts. None of my shorts fit me anymore.
Nothing
so
fits you.
That's the good news. You get to go buy new clothes.
Gonna have to find new shorts before we have that big kegs and eggs celebration that's
No
gonna be
kidding.
going on opening day.
And I think that whole thing, it's pretty much sold out, isn't it? Where we sitting on those tickets? There were only like 20 earlier
Tables
today.
are sold out, but I believe they're standing room only.
Go
Very
online
limited
now.
tickets
If
available.
there's
for
tickets
standing room.
available, you're going to want them on opening day. Kegs and eggs. Could you imagine if opening day have weather like this?
Oh, man.
Watch a Clydesdale.
Hopefully it will.
It's inside this year, too, at Cardinals Nation Restaurant inside Ballpark Village. So even if the weather's not good, you can still be, rest assured, inside. It'll always be perfect.
The weather's going to be great for kegs and eggs. We don't know about for the baseball game.
Yeah.
So the home opener is the
after the kegs, who
27th, right?
cares?
So it's March 27th is the home opener, right?
That's right.
And this is unlike the past few years. The season opener is the home
Yes.
opener.
Hey, now.
The last couple of years we've been on the road for the home opener.
I hate that.
I do too. I like opening here. Everybody's excited, despite what Bernie was talking about. And we seem to have an awful lot of young folks. We're going to try and figure out if they can play ball. But you never know. The good news with young players is they can excite you and they're fired up and ready to go. They're playing for bigger contracts, right? So they're motivated to go. So you never know. Things could be really, really great. I'm excited about that. We've got so much, the stuff that's going on. Like I said, being in DC last week, they were talking about everybody's running with their hair on fire. Being at Jeff City, all of a sudden, it's amazing this year. Jeff City's functional. For better or for worse, they're passing bills.
Well, it sounds as like the Republican leadership has control of the caucus. They had that insurgent caucus for so much that was going on. And at least temporarily, it seems that the Republicans have sorted out their populism and conservative fight in Jeff City.
Hats off to Cindy O'Loughlin running the Senate. Hats off to Speaker Patterson, who's running the House, and Mike Kehoe is doing a fantastic job. But we are going to talk mayoral primary on the other side. Michael Calhoun is going to sit down with Kara Spencer, and we are going to talk to her, and then we're going to talk to Mayor Jones, all coming up in the 12 o'clock hour. Michael Kelley, thank you again for hanging out. It's been fun with the Mike and Mike show. We will continue this on the other side on the Chris and Amy show on KMOX.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Welcome to Staples.
I hear Staples prints it all for any business.
You bet. And we'll beat any print quote.
So if I had a pizza place.
Staples can print signs, menus, pizza boxes.
A landscaping business.
Oh, we can print yard signs, t-shirts, brochures.
How about a pizza/landscaping business? I'll call it Dough and Mo.
I like it.
Right now at Staples, get up to $250 off your print purchase. Ends 4/5 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for offer details. Price match guarantee valid in store and staples.com/print. Visit staples.com/price match for details.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-488-1329. That's 800-488-1329.
KMOX KECK HD2 St. Louis.
The home of the Cardinals. KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Could you make $500,000 in retirement savings feel like $1 million or $1 million feel like $2 million? You could. The key is having a comprehensive financial plan for taxes, Social Security, inflation, healthcare, income, and more. Discover how you could make your money go a lot further in retirement in a 3-hour adult education class called Retirement Planning 101. Hey, it's Sue Thomas, and this is a one-night class taught by a fiduciary advisor from Financial and Tax Architects with decades of financial planning experience. And they hold these at colleges and libraries throughout St. Louis. There's no cost, but bring 3 canned goods for St. Louis Crisis Nursery. If you've saved $300,000 or more for retirement, register by calling 314-947-2012, 314-947-2012. That's 314-947-2012.
Just before 12 noon, we've got sunshine and 70 degrees downtown at the Arch. This news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com.
This just in.
Charges are issued in connection with the racist graffiti recently tagged at 2 schools in Afton. 18-year-old Patrick Sloan of Afton faces 2 counts of property damage motivated by discrimination, 2nd degree. He's being held on $25,000 cash-only bond. Investigators say the spray painting was captured on video, and a family member, as well as other witnesses, identified him from that. St. Louis as a region is gaining in population once again.
According to new data from the U.S. Census Bureau, the metro area gained 6,420 residents. That's the biggest increase in 25 years. That growth is led by international immigration. Without immigrants, the region's population would have shrunk the past 2 years as we are officially in demographic winter, with more people dying than being born. Groups like the International Institute and St. Louis Mosaic Project have been working hard for the past decade to bring more foreign-born here. And while those efforts have been successful, there is concern the Trump administration's crackdown on on immigration will reverse progress. Greater St. Louis Inc. says the numbers also show St. Louis had the nation's highest rate of per capita personal income growth over the past 5 years and ranked as one of the top 5 U.S. markets for job growth for the first time since 1990. Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
But the census says St. Louis City still lost 3,000 people, dropping to under 280,000 residents. St. Louis City would be required to devote a big chunk of the budget to public safety under the bill that puts control of the police department in the hands of a state panel.
It starts at 22% of the budget is going to be allocated to law enforcement, and then it'll slowly go up over the next 3 years to eventually get to 25%.
Sponsor, St. Charles County Republican Senator Nick Schroer tells KMOX that will help recruit officers with better pay. Schroer says once the legislation is signed by the governor and a panel is named, he would hope to see action, quote, right away. A Trump envoy is in Russia to discuss a potential ceasefire in Ukraine, and President Trump may be about to push his planned deportations program into overdrive. Vicki Barker has more on that.
The Trump administration is reportedly poised to invoke the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 to speed up the mass deportations of migrants. CNN is reporting that the sweeping authority meant to be invoked in wartime has been under discussion at multiple agencies, and an announcement could come as early as tomorrow.
The Cardinals had some pitching.
Michael, the Cardinals announced today they signed free agent right-handed pitcher Phil Maton to a one-year contract. This will be his 9th year in the big leagues, a reliever with plenty of postseason experience. President of Baseball Operations, John Mozeliak.
And so for like the last month or so, I've just been kind of keeping pulse of the market. And, ultimately we got to a place where we were comfortable doing it. And I think he'll be an ideal addition for us, just having some veteran presence in our bullpen because it is a younger bullpen. Obviously, Helsley has a lot of experience, but you hate to put that kind of role on the closer.
Maton is from Chatham, Illinois, about 90 miles north of St. Louis. He'll get ramped up to get ready to enter some Grapefruit League games here soon. We're on the air right now, Cardinals.com for the Cardinals and the Astros. I'm Tom Ackerman in West Palm Beach, KMOX Sports.
The KMOX Business Desk, if you need a drink because of the tariffs.
President Trump ramping up his trade war with the European Union, threatening a shocking 200% tariff on wine, champagne, and other drinks from the EU in retaliation for a 50% tax on U.S. whiskey starting in April. That's got stocks lower. Tom Busby, Bloomberg Radio.
The Dow from Stifel's down 498 points, 1.25% to 40,852. We've got a crash on 6440 West at 25th Street. That's got the left lane blocked. We've also got some road work that's just cleared out, 6440 East at Kings Highway and 40 East at Lindbergh as well.
A nice afternoon with plenty of sunshine. Our high 79. Tonight clear to partly cloudy and mild, though 58. A mix of sun and clouds, increasingly windy and very warm tomorrow, high 83. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
We've got sunshine across the region, 69 in St. Peters and Florissant. It's 70 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Help us raise awareness for safe driving as the construction season kicks off with the St. Louis Work Zone Awareness 5K and 1 Mile Fun Run, Saturday, April 9th in Chesterfield. And please buckle up. Phone down so we can all get home safe. Brought to you by Missouri Coalition for Roadway Safety.
News, talk, cards at 104.1 FM starting March 24th. Set your preset now.
Well, it's 12:04 on the Chris and Amy Show. Michael Calhoun is back with you because we're getting you ready for the big debate tonight, the mayoral debate. Of course, what happens in the city affects the entire region. You can see the debate tonight on Fox 2 at 7, and we will air it right here on KMOX after Cardinals coverage. That is at 8 p.m. And our first interview of this series is with Alderwoman Kara Spencer joining us live on KMOX. Thank you so much, Alderwoman. We appreciate it.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
So I want to start, with a tough question, something that was just in the news. The census estimates are out, and the region actually is kind of turning things around and gaining slightly, but the city still lost 3,000 residents, according to the latest estimates. Total population is now 280,000. Mayor Jones, in a statement, said those numbers are encouraging for the metro area and show that we're continuing to slow the decline with the goal of reversing it. We've heard that for many, many years. What do you make of these latest census estimates?
Oh, they're horrible. It's just such a disappointment to see such population loss continue in the city of St. Louis. It is encouraging from a regional perspective, but the city's got to get its act together. And that's very clear by these new census numbers.
Yeah, and that growth in the St. Louis region-wide, depended heavily on immigrants coming in, moving in, not necessarily births or within the country migrations. And so, especially with what's happening federally, how do you move forward, knowing that that's where the region has been able to get its growth?
Well, firstly, that is encouraging on some levels. I mean, seeing people choose St. Louis is an encouraging aspect of the data that just came out today. But we've got to be careful moving through these next few years. I mean, I am concerned about federal policy, state policy. I want to see more immigrants in our community because, as you pointed out, this is the segment of our population that is producing growth, and that growth is important to our economy and to our region's bottom line.
Now, you mentioned state policy, big state policy passed out of the legislature yesterday, now heads to the governor's desk. It's the state appointed board taking over St. Louis Police. And you told the newsroom yesterday that the impact is uncertain. A lot of Democrats seem quite certain that they think it's bad for the city. So why do you say that the impact could be uncertain? What do you think success depends on?
Well, look, I mean, I've been in strong support of local control of our police department since I've been in public office, and I maintain that strong support. I want to see our city control our police department, but recognizing where we are, the breakdown in relationship clearly between the city, the state, our citizens, the police department, and our and our state. This is where we are. What I mean by it being uncertain, how this actually plays out has yet to be determined. Who's going to be controlling? Who's going to be on the police board? These are important decisions that will have major impact. One of the things I've been really thinking through in the last 48 hours is how this is going to impact the departments of city government. Right now, our police department, under control of our city, it has the capacity to work, really seamlessly with city departments like the building division, the city councilor's office. These are departments that need to work really, really in tandem with the police department. That would function a lot better under one roof. So I'm going to be really working to make sure that we provide a path to improve that interconnectedness between city departments and our police department as we move through this. I think that's just a critical piece to improving public safety in the city.
Now, in terms of making sure that those other departments have the resources to accomplish their mission, something else that was just in the news, that under this bill, the city would be required to devote up to 25% of the budget on police. And I think right now it's 10%. And so the question, I guess, is to get to that 25% expenditure, what gets cut or what taxes do you raise?
Well, it depends on how you cut it. I think we're a lot higher than 10%. I think, in fact, we're closer to 20%. And so, I think when you look at the police department's budget, it makes up a big chunk of our city's general revenue. If you're looking at the budget, including the airport and some of our enterprise funds, that gets a little, obviously the numbers are skewed in a different way. But we do spend a good chunk of our money, our general fund, our general revenue on our police department. But it is important that we, as you pointed out, we've got to have a fully funded building division and these other departments that play a critical role in making sure that, problematic property owners are held accountable. This is where a lot of illegal activity is taking place. And those activities are not necessarily round-the-clock policing, but really shore up and complement the emergency responders by doing the sort of legal work and the groundwork to make our city safer.
We're talking with Alderwoman Kara Spencer ahead of tonight's mayoral debate. You can hear on KMOX at 8 p.m. And the mayor has put a focus, she says, on the root causes of crime, programs like Save Lives Now, Cops and Clinicians. Are there any programs like that you see that have merit that you would carry forward?
Well, I think the Office of Violence Prevention has had some successes, and I think it's important to consider keeping those on track. I do want to make sure that when we have non-violent emergencies, that we have, the proper responders to be able to best serve the needs of our residents when they are in emergency situations. And that's not always a police officer. So I do want to make sure that we have those programs still in place and that they are able to be funded. But I think the key really through here is going to be working with the state to make sure that we have a real seat at the table so we can continue to drive the policies that, that our residents depend on for us to make our communities safe.
Another concern for city residents is safety on the streets, whether you're driving a car, a pedestrian, or trying to use a bike lane or trying to find a bike lane in the city. And not every business is going to get the attention that Ted Drew's got. You can't necessarily put in a stoplight every few feet in a business district where people are on foot. But that walkability is really the city's point of differentiation over the suburbs. What would you do to more holistically make it safer for people to walk around like they're in the city?
Oh my gosh, you're hitting the nail on the head. I mean, we talk a lot about crime being down, the homicide rate's down, but vehicular homicides, vehicular fatalities are up phenomenally. We had 20 people last year killed by a car in the city of St. Louis. That's just in the city limits, and that is just that's an aberration from national statistics and outside of the norm. We have a crisis, I would say, in reckless driving. And so you pointed out some of the ways in which you can slow traffic down through infrastructure, but that's incredibly expensive and does not get at the root cause, which is that we have just established a environment, a culture where it is okay to completely disregard traffic laws. And by that, I mean licensing your vehicle, keeping your license and registration up to date. We're going to crack down on reckless driving. We're going to take it very, very seriously because it is putting people's lives at risk. And in fact, it is really, very unfortunately, ending people's lives. The real dangers of being a pedestrian or a cyclist in our community, even just parking your car and walking across the street to go get a cup of ice cream is become life-threatening. And so I think law enforcement is a real key component to making sure that we are changing the culture of driving in St. Louis to be safer for everyone.
Couple of questions in our last minute with Alderwoman Kara Spencer. First of all, I believe there's only a week between the general election and the swearing in. So are you preparing a transition plan, or is that kind of bad luck?
Well, that is true. Normally there would be 2 weeks, but given the sort of lateness of the April 8th election, that anomaly in the sort of second Tuesday, first Monday, that's the scenario. We had just 1 week, which is fairly unusual. Short. 2 weeks would be short anyway. But we, in order to be able to walk in the door, we have had to start that planning process. So we have got a transition a team underway, considering how we're going to, in the event that we win, and we're hopeful things look good for us, but we want to make sure that we're ready on day one. And so we have started that work, and it's going well. People are excited and enthusiastic to be part of the process. And rethinking how we should be governing the city of St. Louis. Because as you pointed out, this isn't just about our city. This is about what happens in the city affects the entire St. Louis region. And I would argue really drives whether or not we can succeed as a broader community.
Got 20, 30 seconds left. What is the picture of St. Louis you see in 5 years?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm running for mayor because I have a tremendous amount of hope for St. Louis. I see our future as one that has a, thriving and vibrant downtown, a bustling riverfront, that has neighborhoods that are safe north and south. And I think, we can and we should be thinking big because we have the bones, we have the culture, the institutions to be a top-notch city and, top of the world. But we can't think big and we certainly can't execute big visions if we can't get the basics right. And so we're going to get in there, tighten up how the city of St. Louis delivers the services that its residents, businesses, and visitors expect and deserve. And with that, the sky's the limit. We are going to be thinking bigger than where we are right now. And I think that's the real key to moving us forward, is getting the basics right, getting the infrastructure, the underlying systems working reliably, effectively, and transparently for the public. And so we can pivot and think bigger than we are right now.
Alderwoman, thank you so much for being with us here on KMOX and talking to the voters. We appreciate it.
I appreciate it. And I look forward to participating in the debate tonight. I hope your listeners tune in, whether it's live or tuning into the recording afterwards.
That is at 8 p.m. right here on KMOX. We're going to take a break. And as we continue with this preview, Debbie Monterey talks with the mayor up next.
You've relied on KMOX for news, talk, and sports for generations. And now we're taking that experience to the next level. Starting March 24th, the voice of St. Louis will be on FM. Tune in to 104.1 FM KMOX for the same great programming, including Cardinals baseball. Now with crystal clear sound. 11:20 a.m., 104.1 FM, and streaming everywhere on the Odyssey app. KMOX is with you, however you listen.
You still thinking job change in the new year? Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy. IT? Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI. That's what I did. Really? How? Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up. Sweet. Are classes online or on campus? Both. Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com and get ready for the workday.
For residential and commercial heating repairs, service, maintenance, or installation, contact Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation. With over 50 years of HVAC service, get in your comfort zone this winter. Visit aircomfortservice.com. That's aircomfortservice.com.
News Radio KMOX, the home of the Cardinals.
It is the Chris and Amy Show on Newstalk 1120 KMOX. Mike Elam sitting in for Chris and Amy today. The big mayoral debate is tonight on Fox 2, and then we are going to rebroadcast that here on KMOX. As a preview to that, you just heard Kara Spencer doing an interview with Michael Calhoun, and now our own Debbie Monterey sits down with Mayor Tashara Jones. Debbie?
Tonight is the St. Louis mayoral debate between Mayor Tashara Jones and Alderwoman Kara Spencer. Mayor Jones, it's great to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
First of all, I know you've heard an earful from people about things that they are unhappy about. So I really want to ask to start off to talk about some of the things that you're really proud of your 4 years in office. What are some of the things that you have accomplished that you are really happy about?
Well, again, thank you for having me here. The first and foremost, the thing I am most proud of is the promise that I kept on transforming public safety in the city of St. Louis. When I became mayor in 2021, we were in crisis mode. Homicides were at an all-time high. And I believe that the changes that we've made have successfully made St. Louis a lot safer than we were 4 years ago. Homicides are down over 40%. Youth-involved shootings are down over 50%. And our emergency response times have increased 60%. And we've done that through a myriad of ways, through an all-hands-on-deck strategy of prevention, intervention, and enforcement. We realize that there is a shortage of officers, so we have alternative response methods like our Cops and Clinicians program or our non-police response to take some of the load off of officers' shoulders so they can concentrate on violent crime. And we are seeing progress. We have engaged with thousands of people through our alternative response methods and have diverted them from going to jail, from emergency rooms, and costing our already compromised safety net millions and millions of dollars. We have been able to, we hired the first chief from outside of the city in our entire city's history, and he's making progress on crime reduction. And as we speak today, our homicides are down over 50% than even last year. So we're all of these things that we've put in place with our Office of Violence Prevention, funding our community partners, are working.
How frustrating is it then when you present these numbers and people just simply disregard them or don't believe them?
Well, I can understand that. My family has been a victim of violence. I've lost 4 relatives to gun violence since I became mayor in 2021. So I get that. However, I you know, I want to empathize with people, but they also can see that, St. Louis is moving in the right direction. Our crime is down and our investment is up. We've issued our building permits that we have issued is up over 155%. We have over $2 billion in investment in the city in the last 4 years. And we're about to change the landscape of our downtown landscape by the redevelopment of the Millennium Hotel. And that's a process that I started just back in May. And now we have a contract in place to proceed. That happened in record time in government.
Yeah, that's going to be a transformational project for sure.
Mhm.
You mentioned the police chief, and I know you've been working closely with him and you have been very supportive of him. I continue to, well, on social media, you can't always believe what people think.
Right.
But they will say Mayor Jones believes in defunding the police. And then I will say, well, maybe you should talk to Chief Tracy about that.
Exactly.
But what is your response? Why do people continue to say that?
I think people continue to say that because I participated in the Ferguson protest. I participated in the Stockley protest because I believe that we can we can and we should hold our bad actors accountable. But we can walk and chew gum at the same time. We can support transforming public safety and support and holding bad actors accountable. If I defunded the police, then I wouldn't have given the police 2 raises under my administration. And then I also give Police Chief Tracy everything that he needs to be successful. And the numbers prove that. The data proves that.
I know we've already talked to you about the bill that's now on Governor Kehoe's desk for a state takeover again of the city police department, but are you getting any kind of details about how they believe this will improve policing or safety in the city?
Absolutely not. They have not provided one single detail about how this is going to improve policing. And even the sponsors have said that this is not a crime bill. Well, if it's not a crime bill, then what is it? I think we should take a broader look at policing in this state, how Missouri seems to be going back to Civil War era policies, and how this is rooted in racism because the only police departments that they are concerned about in the state of Missouri are in cities that are led by Black mayors.
You had said a few weeks ago, and I can't remember the exact quote, but you said, people always have great ideas until they're running the show, basically.
Right.
You can say
I
whatever you
said
want when you're
people
running.
who've never managed anything think they can change everything.
Yes. So can you talk a little bit about the powers of the mayor's office? Because, of course, anytime
Yes.
something goes wrong or people are unhappy, it's always the mayor. But I think St. Louis is different than some other cities, possibly, in the way the structure of the mayor's office is and what the mayor
Yes.
can and can't control.
Right. Oh, the structure of the city of St. Louis is probably the most unique in any part in this country, because we are our own city and our own county. We have 9 citywide elected officials, including the mayor, 3 municipal, and 6 what we call countywide because we're our own city and county. And those countywide office holders do not report to the mayor. They report to the people, just like the other elected officials. And so we have this, super fragmented government. And some may say, well, I should just throw my hands up and I can't do anything. And I've been the opposite. I've brought all of those officers to the table. We meet on a monthly basis to try to figure out how we can work together and how I can support them to be better. So we are making sure that our software is talking to each other. We work together on different projects and programs like the real estate tax assistance program that's run out of the Collector of Revenue's office with assistance from the Legal Services of Eastern Missouri. Even though we have what some may seem as silo government, I have changed that and made sure that we bring those officers to the table so we can figure out how we can work together and so they can be successful as well because we all serve the same population.
I asked you at the top of this interview to talk about what you're proudest of, but when you're looking back over the last 4 years, what are some things that maybe you wish you had done better or handled better, or maybe something that you had hoped to accomplish that has not happened yet?
One of the things I'd hope to accomplish that hasn't happened yet is, I wish we'd made more progress on the paving because now that's starting. But what I also found out is that things move at the speed of government, and sometimes government doesn't move as fast as we'd like it to. Um, uh, when we have access to these supercomputers that we call cell phones, we can get information instantly. But that doesn't always translate in government, city government. I wish that we would have made some more changes to the charter that would have brought the personnel department under my purview because that has been a difficult spot for us because if we can't deliver services if we can't hire effectively, and if we can't hire effectively, then it's a unfortunate cycle. But again, I am proud of the work that we've done with children and youth and workforce with our youth build program, with the reduction in youth involved shootings, because I am a mom. And also able to really make a robust investment in our rec centers and our children and making sure they have safe spaces to just have fun and be kids.
If you could paint a picture for us of St. Louis in 5 years or 10 years, what do you envision for St. Louis?
Well, I envision a St. Louis where your access, your zip code doesn't determine your opportunity or your access. And right now, that isn't the case. If people in North St. Louis, unfortunately, and I live in North St. Louis, we have to travel miles just to get access to basic services such as pharmacies, grocery stores, restaurants that aren't fast food, that aren't just fried chicken or not healthy fast food options. And our zip codes shouldn't determine our opportunity. We should have the same access in North St. Louis to everything that everybody else has access to in other neighborhoods. And that's why I have pushed so hard to make sure that we are lifting up parts of our community that haven't seen investment for decades, because it spreads the tax base and lifts the tax burden off of people who live in other nice neighborhoods. We want to grow our population. And in order to do that, we have to invest in communities that haven't seen investment in decades to encourage people to live there, to move there, and bring in new taxpayers to buy homes and raise their families here.
One question I wondered, because it's been a slog, and well, everything's crazy in the news right now, and I run into you all over the place, so it seems like you're always working, and I thought one day, why do you want this job? Why?
Because I have lived here all of my life outside of going to college. And I have seen St. Louis in its better days. And I often think about, my grandparents when they bought their first home here in the 1950s, and it was the center of our family's universe. And I've seen their former neighborhood just fall into disrepair due to decisions to not invest in Black and brown communities. And I love this city. I know, I see its potential. I know we can be that next Nashville or Indianapolis or any other Midwestern city that people point to, or even Kansas City. But it's going to take the hard work of radical collaboration and coming together and really working or executing our plans, because we already have the plans in place. We have the Economic Justice Action Plan. We have Greater St. Louis's Inclusive Development Plan, our Transportation Mobility Plan, and we just updated our Strategic Land Use Plan. So we have all of these things in place. The pieces are there. We just need to come together, and it's like a big jigsaw puzzle. And everybody is going to have a piece that they are going to place in that big jigsaw puzzle that's going to create a wonderful city that people will want to live in and move to.
What do you see as the biggest challenge to the city right now, either locally or on the national scope?
I would say two things. Our biggest challenges are our education system and the challenges of our education system. People usually move where, when they have families of where they're going to have access to good education. And we've struggled with that for decades. And that's not, pointing blame on the current school board or anything. That has been a struggle that St. Louis has had for a long time. And I would like to see us really move the needle on making sure that no matter what school our children go to, that it's a quality school that's in their neighborhood, and they have the access to thrive and succeed. And the other problem that I see is the state takeover of our police department. It is not the panacea that people think it's going to be. It is going to be chaos, and it also threatens the progress that we've made over the last 4 years through the collaboration that we have with other county departments, through the collaboration we have with the Office of Violence Prevention and our community partners, our progress on 911, and also in our co-response model. This is taxation without representation, because this board is going to report to the governor and to the Senate, not to the citizens of the city of St. Louis. And if a state-controlled police department was the model for law enforcement, then Kansas City should be the safest place on earth. And their crime is worse than ours.
Final question for you. Tonight is the mayoral debate. It's going to be on Fox 2. We'll be carrying it here on KMOX starting at 8. What are you hoping to get out of it, or going into it? What are you hoping for?
I'm hoping that those who tune in, either watching it or listening to it, will see that this is we are at a crossroads right now with what's going on the state and federal level. We require consistent and stable leadership in order to address the challenges that our city faces. This is not the time for amateur hour or to press the reset button. This is not the time to change leadership, because it's going to lead to even more chaos on the local level. And I'm not saying that just because it's me. I'm thinking about all of the irons that we currently have in the fire, and then all of the things that are happening at the state and federal level. We need experienced leadership to lead us through these next 4 years.
Mayor Tashara Jones, thanks for joining us on KMOX.
Thank you for having me.
The Biz Dash returns as St. Louis's healthiest happy hour. Combining fitness and fun, it's a perfect team bonding activity for any size business. All levels of runners and walkers are welcome. Join us this spring at Energizer Park, home of St. Louis City SC, for the 10th year of the Biz Dash, the ultimate office party and kickoff to summer. Thursday, May 22nd at Energizer Park in downtown St. Louis. Create your company team today at stlbizdash.com.
We've got sunshine at 71 downtown at the Arch. An 18-year-old from Afton is charged with spray painting 2 buildings in the Afton School District in the past week with racial slurs, swastikas, and other threatening messages and symbols of hate. The St. Louis County Prosecutor's Office charged Patrick Sloan with 2 counts of property damage motivated by discrimination. He was identified from video footage by a family member, and Sloan reportedly admitted to the family member that he was responsible. Stalled vehicle 270 going east at I-170. That's on the right shoulder. They've cleared out a stalled 270 going north at Tesson Ferry, and also some road work on 44 West before 55. Weather is sponsored by the St. Louis Work Zone Awareness 5K and 1 mile fun run. Wind advisory from noon tomorrow through 1 a.m. Saturday. This afternoon, sunshine, high 79. Clear tonight, low 58. Times of sun and clouds tomorrow, high 83. A couple large thunderstorms tomorrow night. Right now, 71 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Hey, this is Debbie Monterey. Join me and Kevin Short of Clayton Capital Partners for our next edition of The Business of Family Business when John Mylink joins us from 1905 New Media.
Yeah, Deb, another great St. Louis story of a family that made it through all the trials and tribulations of small business and have thrived. Tune in on Saturday to hear another great story.
That's the 120-year-old fourth generation 1905 New Media, The Business of Family Business. Saturday at 5, only on KMOX.
What does Del Walmsley, CEO and founder of Lifestyles Unlimited, think you need to succeed in this market?
It's time to buy, and so you better get prepared, you better get educated, you better get your money right. You need to get involved because you're going to need the financing. You're going to need the vendors that we have available to us. You're just going to need the interaction with people. You need to immerse yourself into real estate.
Start your real estate immersion with a free workshop live online at lifestylesunlimitedworkshop.com.
Cardinal Cowboy here. Years ago, doctors said I'd never be independent after a bad car accident. Well, I proved them wrong. When proving who's the best in garage doors, Renner does it every time. Whether it's service or a new door, you're covered with top brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster. Keep your garage door running strong with Renner's $100 maintenance check. Or get a free replacement quote. Call or click RennerDoorSTL.com. Renner, forward and back.
RENNER, RENNER. Hi, Stacy here with Fairwinds River's Edge Senior Living in St. Charles. We have a helpful seminar coming up Friday, March 7th that just might be the help you didn't even know you needed. Learn about the current housing market and tips on how to downsize and move from a home you may have been in for 20 years. Or maybe it's been 50. Happy hour follows. Visit us online at fairwindsriversedge.com and let us know if you're able to join us. Thanks, and we hope to talk with you soon.
I'm Tom Ackerman, and welcome to this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. This month we are talking about colon cancer, and joining us is Dr. Will Chapman Jr.
A patient is not having to go to 3 different office visits trying to manage the communication between different physicians as an intermediary. Instead, I can talk directly to my colleagues. We can quickly establish a plan.
Thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, visit siteman.wustl.edu.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-431-2715. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-431-2715. 800-431-2715. 800-431-2715.
If you want to know what's happening with your St. Louis Cardinals, then you need to get the inside scoop from the Gas House Gang. Every weekday at noon, Tom Ackerman, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler, and Bernie Nicholas break down the latest Cardinals news with analysis only true experts can bring. Live on the KMOX YouTube channel and KMOX Sports on X, and replayed weeknights at 8 on KMOX. The Gas House Gang, sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling and Game Day Men's Health on your home of the St. Louis Cardinals, KMOX.
It's a huge day on the Chris and Amy show because it turned out to the Mike and Mike show. So that was awesome. So I will be back tomorrow, and Michael Kelley's going to join us again for the first hour. That was fun today. I enjoyed hanging out with Michael Kelley. I didn't mention Trump because I didn't want him to lose his mind, but I will definitely talk about that tomorrow. The mayoral debate, as we've been talking about all this hour, is happening tonight. It airs live on Fox 2 at 7. We are going to rebroadcast at 8 o'clock tonight. So you got a chance to have a preview with the mayors earlier today. Thank you to Michael Calhoun and Debbie Monterey for doing those interviews. Hope you enjoyed those. It's gorgeous. I hope you get the chance to get out and go enjoy today. Lots of sunshine. Going to get up to almost 80 degrees. Tomorrow, the weather's going to change. We got a chance for some severe storms that are going to blow through tomorrow night and just Saturday. So go enjoy it while you can. SLU basketball, the Atlantic 10 tournament is going on today. SLU is getting ready to tip off with Davidson in about 20 minutes from right now. So we are getting out of here early today to make room for Rammer and Earl Austin Jr. to do the pregame show. So SLU's coming up. Let's go Billikens. Let's pull this thing out. My name is Mike Elam. Thanks for letting me hang out with you today. Filling in on the Chris and Amy show. We will see you back here tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Have a great day, everybody.
Need a lawyer? Onder wins. Call Onder Law at